So it's January, early January 2023, and I've noticed that the sap has been running on some of the trees. Sap coming out of the holes made by the sapsucker birds. The temperatures are getting a little bit below freezing at night, and then well above freezing during the day. So this is my 4th season, and I think it's time to put some taps in the tree. So my son Micah and I are going to go and tap probably a handful of trees here. We won't do them all since it's still kind of early. And if things are running pretty good, I'll probably put more taps in. But yeah, let's get to it. All right, so this is the sugar bush. I'm only on an acre and a half here, but a lot of these trees that you see out here are very mature sugar maples. And they produce quite a bit of sap. So yeah, I think I got about maybe 30 trees that are actually tappable, with a lot of them being large enough for multiple taps. But in previous seasons, I've only done 1 tap per tree. This year I'm probably going to do 2 taps on some of the real big trees. So yeah, let's get to tapping. I'm still using these little tubes with the 5/16 inch taps. Typically what you want to do is you want to drill a hole into the tree. In this case it's 5/16 inch, between 1.5 and 2 inches deep. That matches the tap width there. The reason why I have this tape on here is so that I know exactly where to stop. I measured, I'm about 1.5 inches here, so I don't go too deep and I don't go too shallow. So if you look at the tree here, I'm tapping on the south side of the tree, and I'm going way up, and if you see that branch up there, that's a really good branch. You typically want to tap under a really good branch or above a really good root. Now this tree has a lot of good roots, but in previous seasons I've tapped more on that side, and so I'm going to change it up and go over here. You never want to tap in the same spot twice. Every year you want to move at least 6 inches away horizontally, and at least 6 inches away vertically as well. So eventually you're going to kind of go around the tree. So let's start with the tap. I tap pretty low, and I'm going to go into the tree, and what you want to do is you want to drill into the tree at a slight upward angle so that the sap runs, and comes down. So let's just drill here. Okay, so we'll put our tap in. Okay, so with you don't want to use a hammer because it's kind of hard. You could break these plastic taps. So what I use is just a rubber mallet, and you just kind of gently get it into the tree there so it's pretty snug. That way the sap isn't running out the sides. That's pretty good. And then I got my 5-gallon food grade bucket here, and since we're in the mountains, it's kind of, everything's kind of at a incline here, so I usually set up some rocks underneath the bucket just to keep it from tipping over. Then I got my lid with the hole drilled in there for the tube. Put that on and stick the tube down in there, and that's really it. And then we check them on a daily basis. So some days, on good days, these buckets will actually be overflowing in 24 hours. That's how much these things will fill up on really good days. So yeah, let's move on to some other trees. Yeah, so I just wanted to show you the size of some of these trees that I have here. Look at this thing. it's massive. This thing has got to be 200 plus years old for sure. I mean, it could be pushing 300 years. It's been here for a long time. So yeah, this tree I could easily put 3 taps in. You never want to put more than 3 taps in one tree in a given season, but I could clearly put 3 taps in this tree. For now, I'm just going to put 1 tap in, see how things flow, and then probably in a couple weeks I'll put another one in. You know, as we're tapping these trees, like I said before, we want to make sure we're not tapping too close to where we tapped in previous years. We want to give the tree some years to heal previous holes. So if I can find it here in the camera, there we go. Here is a hole from a previous, I believe this was probably last year, and you can kind of see how the hole's healing up. It's got something inside. I'm assuming that's the tree healing. But like I said, you want to typically tap. Like I'm not going to want to come up here and put a hole right here this year. It's too close. You want to be at least probably 6 inches away horizontally as well as vertically. So, you know, you want to stay away from that hole, and eventually you'll be able to come back in this vicinity, but you're going to want to wait several years. So like I said, you're gonna work your way around the tree. This is a pretty big sized tree. This tree could support easily 2 taps, but I'm only going to put 1 in for now, and then maybe later in the season put another tap in. So yeah, here's one of my best producing sugar maples. As you can see, the bark is stained black, and that's just from sap running down the tree over the years. So it looks like a good producer, and it definitely is. I actually double tapped this tree last year, and I would get 10 gallons of sap out of this tree in a single day on a good day. Yeah, it's incredible. I got a lot of trees this size, but yeah, this one is definitely one of the best producing. Yeah, the other thing, if you notice here, you can see all of these holes. Those are not made by me. Those are actually made by the sapsucker woodpecker. And that's kind of one of the other things that I pay attention to. When I'm seeing the sapsucker woodpeckers out on the trees, that I know the sap is probably flowing. And you know, we're here in the Blue Ridge Mountains of North Carolina. I'm in really close to the Tennessee border here, up in Zionville, and like I said, it's only early January, and this is when I start tapping. You know, up in the Great North, like up in Michigan, where I came from, you know, they're not tapping the trees until mid to late March. So yeah, it's early, but yeah, this is when the sap flows down here. Yeah, so I actually need to count them, but I don't know if you can see, but I have quite a few buckets out, quite a few taps. I think this is what I'm gonna do for now. I got a lot of other trees that I can tap, but you know, it is a little bit early and the temps aren't super ideal. But last year I waited waited a little bit too long, so I wanted to make sure I got in a little bit earlier, see what kind of sap we can collect, and yeah, hopefully it turns out to be a productive season. Down here next to my sugar shack that I built this summer with wood that I harvested and milled myself. Yeah, you can see all the little white things you see out there in the distance. Those are the buckets. Like I said, I've only tapped about half of the trees that I could tap for today. I'm gonna wait a couple more weeks, unless the saps start really flowing good. Otherwise, I'll wait a couple of weeks and tap some more.